I wanted to get a quick, how you say, there's ads. God, why is there always ads? Can I see how much I'm streaming in? Am I in 1080p? Do I have to re-record this bullshit for YouTube? No, perfect. Here's my current stance on the game. Characters like Maga, Orisa, and Roadhog, as much as I don't think, characters that are just problematic in their design, like Junker Queen. No one cares about playing against a good Junker Queen. They did a very good job designing a character that doesn't have lots of downsides, but has good counterplay and all that nonsense and whatever. Stuff like Fortify, stuff like just bullying the tank, stuff like Discord, Immortality, this, all of that nonsense. Also Bastion. Bastion, his tank form specifically is problematic. They have illuminated to me, not having most of this in Overwatch 1, why it's problematic. Because Orisa currently is an unstoppable, like, bunker. That it's the nickname the community gave Orisa. She was a bunker tank. The devs were trying to make an anchor tank, which is like, hey, I'm the mainstay of the team. And they kind of succeeded in doing that, but the way that the devs were trying to design tanks didn't really work out outside of Reinhardt as an anchor, you know, like somebody you build the entire team around of. That doesn't really work in the tank department, like, ever. At least most of the time. You could do, like, Hammond, double bubble with Zarya, Winston, but for the most part, you were just at the mercy of, you ideally, like, you would go with Orisa, you would go Baptiste, you might go Roadhog, you might go Sigma. In the early days, Double Shield was not that good. People didn't know how to manage it, and cooldowns and stuff weren't there yet for it, or people haven't mastered it. So Double Shield in the early game, or early days, I remember it being very bad. Very, very bad. People didn't know how to do it. People didn't know how to manage it. People were just using their cooldowns willy-nilly, especially Orisa's. Like, you shoot a butterfly thingy and it was fucked. How do I feel currently in Classic? I feel like in Classic, I'm tankier on DPS Doomfist than I am on Tank Doomfist. Which makes no fucking sense. Tank Doomfist has, what, 525 HP? Something like that?
Forged in conflict. I'm the strongest.
Yeah. He's ridiculously tanky in comparison, numbers wise. However, I feel like using your, mostly just having uppercut back and not the shitty block. Actually, I will go back into the training range, annoyingly enough. The problem with Tank Doomfist is that he has this. He has a block. It's on a 7-second cooldown. It does nothing for you if you click the button. This is not like Sigma Grasp. Where is Sigma? It's not like this. It's not like Defense Matrix. It's not like, what else? Zarya Bubble. It's not like Fortify. It's not like Spinning Spear. Spinning Spear actually gives you a speed boost. I wonder if Sigma still gets the speed boost. No, I don't think it does anymore. I think they removed that. However, Sigma's Grasp is still very, very, very strong. My problem with this is twofold. One, it's not a barrier. You can't take unlimited damage from a single source, such as a Diva Bomb, such as a Junkrat Nade, or what have you. It's also not a Defense Matrix or a Sigma Grasp where it can eat literally unlimited projectiles. It is a pure DR ability. What does this mean? That means if you are being shot at, excuse me. Sorry, my Doom Fistine's a bit weird. If you're taking damage, you have to take damage in order to get value out of the ability. Now, you can argue, like, let's say I'm this low, right? I can block. I can still die. That's the problem. Now, there is an opportunity cost. If you block enough, you get an empowered punch. Here's the problem. I don't like the empowered punch. The empowered punch is fundamentally a really stupid ability. It doubles the AoE, or like the cone range. It doubles your damage and doubles your speed. Now, why is this bad? Because that sounds great. Two things. One, you can get an empowered punch. Oops. Oh, there we go. Wait. You can get an empowered punch. Save it. Right? So I have an empowered punch now. I can save the empowered punch, not use my ability. The iconic ability of Doomfist, right? I can not use my ability, and then I have a better version of the ability. Now, we have an extra problem, though. Not only can I still generate shields and amongst other things, right? I can, even if I'm only hitting these two guys right here, right? So I can slam in, punch. If they don't die, because that is a bit extreme, I can block again and get another empowered punch, punch the enemy team, ult, slam, and get another empowered punch. It is extremely obnoxious to play against. It is laughably stupid to play against. Genuinely. I don't know how we went from a more infuriating... Also, my punch, even with empowered, still can't one-shot a Tracer. Now, in Overwatch 2, Tracer has 175 HP now instead of 150, so I don't really disagree or agree. Most of my problem was with that most of the damage on Rocket Punch is not in the impact, it's on the wallbang. I don't like that. I don't like the inconsistency of Doomfist. I don't like that it's not just bonus damage given to you because you landed an extra little bit and you get a little extra damage. Most of the damage and viability of the character relies on you getting a punch against a wall. That's how it's always been balanced in Overwatch 1. Your rocket punch did 100 damage, and then the wall bang did 150 max charge, right? It went down, obviously, but now you can hit multiple people, which is why I'm okay with the rocket punch not being as impactful. However, Doomfist sacrificed a few things. He sacrificed... how do I say this politely? He sacrificed his identity. Now, I don't want to BM the devs because I don't know which devs made this, slash, you know, like, I don't know... We should have 0 cooldowns now. Tank Doomfist versus DPS Doomfist. I have less HP. I have... Oh, what the hell? Tank Doomfist techs, Overwatch 2 techs for Doomfist are also still in the game. You slam on stairs all weirdly. That's odd. Long story short, I'm missing two things. One, uppercut. Not only did this ability give me movement, it gave me damage. A lot of my combos and lots of all that, the idea of having a pew pew pow, pew pew boom, pew pew pow, or bang bang boom, boom boom bang, you know, like 1 2 3 3 2 1. All of Overwatch 1's Doomfist combos, for the most part, outside of punch, shoot, slam out, don't work. They just don't. There's no such thing as any of that. Now, I understand the idea of current DPS Doomfist, especially, where he slams for 125 max and uppercuts, and then he kills 2-3 people. I get it. I get why that's not optimal, but here's my problem. The tank Doomfist has nothing going for him, but he is more obnoxious. He's not as lethal, but he's more obnoxious. Disruption was valued more than the hero's identity, and they watered down and ruined the hero's identity by making him just farm punches. Now, Doomfist has had this mentality for a very long time of you land your skills properly, you get value, right? That's not exactly why he was designed the way he was designed, though. Where this is how you can make him effective. because he is fundamentally, at least in DPS form, he's very counterable, especially in Overwatch 1 where we had flashbang, Mei had slows, etc, etc. Doomfist was very, and he still is, very punishable, even with an 80% block where you can give him a super punch where he can punch out for free, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. Doomfist is very punishable. He doesn't have any armor, he doesn't have any self-regen. He does have, if he lands his cooldowns, his passive, where the best offense is good defense, where if you hit people with your abilities, you get shields. Now, Tank Doomfist has the same numbers as DPS Doomfist, or give or take. He has relatively the same amount, whether it be 25 to 35 or even 40 shields, doesn't really matter. He still gets that value. Now, proportionally, how many shields you get is weird. If you have full HP and you land on 2-3 people, you get your shields. You max out your shields pretty easy after the uppercut, and you can punch out, and then you can wait until your cooldowns come back on DPS Doomfist, and then you can go back in, and you still have a good amount of shields, and you can overcap your shields with one ability on uppercut or slam, or even punch, which is ridiculous. Tank Doomfist can also do something very similar, where he basically just does this, try to farm some power punch, and, well, that's it. There's nothing else. That's all he does. Now, my biggest problem with everything here is that Tank Doomfist doesn't have any agency. For some ungodly reason, the enemy has control whether or not he gets an Empowered Punch. I can't manually charge up the Empowered Punch. I have to take damage. Now, it's not like I have to take damage to a shield. It's not like a Zarya bubble. It's not nothing like that. It's worse. I have to physically take damage with 80% DR, which also is ridiculous, by the way, but it's inconsistent because 80% DR is not Defense Matrix. It's not Sigma Grass. It's not Spinny Spear. It will not save you indefinitely. If you are low HP, you will die. Oh, right. Ah! Sorry. Again, cooldowns are backwards. Muscle memory is a bit screwy. Even then, I was still doing it wrong. My biggest complaint about all things Doomfist now, and it always has been with tanks in general, whether it be Roadhog, Hook 1.0, 2.0, doesn't really matter. Inconsistency is really, really annoying. That's also why Reinhardt had problems for a long time, because his shatter was just super inconsistent on terrain and stuff. Any tanks that are inconsistent are problematic. It's why they changed Defense Matrix from being kind of like, hey, you have to catch a thing and it gets eaten slowly, to being an instant eat. Now, arguably, that's one of the biggest mistakes in Overwatch history, because Defense Matrix and abilities such as that are absolutely abominably disgusting. They're fundamentally too strong, in my opinion, at least, but that's not what I'm talking about here, because Doomfist doesn't have that. He, let's say, hey, I have to take damage to get use out of this cooldown. I don't get movement, I don't get shields, I don't get anything like that. But I also get debuffed for using it. I get slow, which, if you've noticed with Tank Doomfist versus DPS Doomfist, I think, at least in Overwatch 1, especially with more stuns and more damage and more bullshit, and more characters shooting at me, I feel tankier on DPS Doomfist because I have the uppercut and it can get me out of a jam. I have a movement ability instead of a shitty block that also debuffs me. I do not know why I have to self-punish myself in order to get arguably the entire character's kit, which is the Empowered Punch. Everything about DPS Doomfist has been foregone entirely for this super punch that, though I do like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, like that's not cool, especially if that's the entire enemy team. It's been watered down to the point where I don't think it's worth building around the entire character's kit. However, that's the only thing this character is balanced around. Even when they recently buffed his slam, can I look at it here? It doesn't matter. They recently buffed Doomfist's slam, and then they nerfed one of his abilities because it was doing too well, or something along those lines, right? Because they fixed a bug. I don't mean to be rude to the devs, but the 50% win rate on each character, especially against characters that are obnoxious, I understand why tanks have to be balanced this way, because you don't want one tank dominating the game, because it's just a numbers game in the tank category, and I get that. But when it comes to the fundamentals of everything, I still don't like that Doomfist is even a tank. A. B. I do not like micro buffs or micro nerfs. I like actual impact change. Now, sometimes there is tuning needed, whether it be a cooldown plus or minus 1, whether it be 5 or 10 extra damage on Venture or Ashe to make sure they can or cannot one-shot. Sometimes that's needed, but this character, I can't explain it in any reasonable way. I deal less damage than Overwatch 1. In Overwatch 1, I thought I needed a damage buff on my left click because, you know, when he has no other abilities, he has nothing to do during those cooldowns. I still have a good 2 seconds before I can do anything, right? Now, Tank Doomfist has this solved for the most part, his regen and his ammo, but his bullets do less damage. They do significant less. If I remember correctly, they do 5 damage. Or something silly like that. 5 to 1.5, yes. So he does up to 55 damage per shot, which can crit. That's not enough to one-shot an Overwatch 1 Tracer if you land every pellet in their mouth. Should that one-shot somebody? It's a shotgun. I think so, especially since it's a projectile-based shotgun. And, well, Overwatch 2, his spread's not random. It follows a pattern. Overwatch 1, in Classic, the weapon spreads back. And I've noticed that inconsistency, which is frustrating because not having the consistent spread in the game, especially since certain characters don't have the need for that, has been very frustrating. And I was expecting them to buff the damage and never touch the consistency of the weapon. They obviously went a different route. I'm happy with the consistency, but Tank Doomfist doesn't have consistency. All of the reliability of this character is either you farm your ultimate to force an empowered punch on the enemy team, and then you go in and then use a fourth ability, or you let the enemy team farm ult off you, like an old ult battery situation with Roadhog, and your entire teammates hate you for existing. I do not know how the current iteration of Doomfist exists. He is an enigma in Overwatch 2. Now, again, one good thing about Tank Doomfist is his movement and fluidity. That is the one saving grace with the Doomfist rework. I am surprised they give him this much agency. Now, here's my biggest gripe with it. You have to use 2 abilities in order to get any of that done. In Overwatch 1, you did need to use 2 abilities, but then you could use your 3rd ability to get out. You can't really do that because one of your abilities is a block. And though you can technically farm out an Empower Punch from it, the enemy can sleep dart you. On top of everything wrong with Empowered Punch and block and all of that, it can be slept. It can be naded. Hell, it can be booped. It can be pinned. It can be javelined. It can be hooked. It's not a barrier. It's not a Sigma Grass, which you can get yoinked out of, so can Defense Matrix. I don't think Spinny Spear can be hooked, actually, now that I think about it. I don't know about that, actually, because I think the interaction was changed. A lot of the interactions with Roadhog Hook normally do get changed, though, with some of those abilities, especially Sigma Grass. You couldn't originally hook it. I know you can now. So, why do I like DPS Doomfist, other than his rollouts are fantastic, even though in the classic version they're literally not working. His slide punch, for example, like most of the slides on the walls and stuff on slants, like on Anubis first point, they don't even work. Why do I like DPS Doomfist, even in that state, more than Tank Doomfist? A, he's much more fun. He's much more impactful, and I feel like his entire kit was realized and actually makes sense. Tank Doomfist feels like a band-aid fix to appeal to the general audience of everybody, while also making him obnoxious to play against, and make him viable, while also watering down every bit of his identity other than his movement. He does have a good amount of movement still. I don't like his movement, mostly because it becomes at the agency of, well, inconsistency. You're not always going to have an Empower Punch. I don't know how to describe this anymore. How long you charge a punch, being how far you go, is way more valuable to me versus, you know, getting an Empowered Punch and falling off the map. Because that also keeps happening. Everyone laughs about it, but it's absolutely true. Like, if you don't know how far you're going to go, you're just going to go off the map. That's it. I don't know if my slam's going to be able to make it. If with an power punch versus this or that. The inconsistency on Doomfist's kit is a bastardization of his identity and his character. The whole point of DPS Doomfist and his identity as Doomfist was you have abilities that give you good movement or good damage. You have to decide when to use each ability to do that. Tank Doomfist doesn't really have that. Tank Doomfist has... I guess he has one playstyle, which is you can be a hyper-mobile tank with weird mitigation that's not very effective for yourself or your team, because it can be very easily countered and punished. Especially since one of them gives you a slow debuff, which is fucking obnoxious and insane. His empowered punch can be farmed without being shot at, but you basically just turn into slam in, punch out, and then you block on the way in, hoping to get an empowered punch, and then you just farm your ultimate to get it, and then you farm, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go in, oh no, I have to commit, oh no, slam, get a bunch of shields, up and down, and then you can kind of do that. One of my biggest problems, though, is that his punch can go through multiple people, but his bullets don't. If his bullets went through multiple people, like a Fire Strike or something, or like May's primary fire, I think most of Doomfist's problems would go away, because a lot of his inconsistency comes from the fact that I can't shoot an Ana behind a Roadhog when I roll out and hit multiple people, and I don't want to hit multiple people. I don't know how. They gave Doomfist an 80% DR. They gave him arguably... well, I think he has more distance, but he has less mobility. And by mobility, I mean movement. Like, he goes, instead of going, whoop, 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 he goes, whoop, whoo, zzz, pew, and then he has an empowered punch that gives him even more mobility, technically. And there's a big technicality. And it all feels real smooth, but it feels like shit to play. And it feels like shit to play against. I've played against a good Doomfist as Venture, as Sombra, as May, as supports, Juno, Ana, Baptiste, doesn't really matter. Whether it be in high ranks, low ranks, quick play, comp, doesn't really matter. I don't know why the lethality of Doomfist was sacrificed for obnoxious nonsense, especially since all the boops in the game just don't work on tanks. Doomfist being able to displace tanks has never been addressed. Drunker Queen's knife got addressed because her combo was like, boom, you shoot, knife, shoot. I forget the damn axe's name. Doesn't matter. You axe them, and then you get health, and then that's your combo. And then if you do it on a squishy, it one-shots them. It's really good and strong, but it's a one-shot with extra... It has multiple skill shots in it. Skill shots, one-shots, doesn't matter. Roadhog has the shoot, hook, shoot. That's not really a thing on Doomfist. If you get your empowered punch, you can do oh, damn it. You can do everything right, and they still might live. Either, not just from healing either, it's just obnoxious in nature. Because you also have to worry about terrain. You have to worry about other things beyond your control. Now, that was the thing they buffed recently that I was happy about. That's a training bot. It's very easy to demonstrate against. Let's try something a bit more annoying, such as, oh, I don't know, Nana. Can't give myself empowered punch, by the way, which is immaculately frustrating. Also, there's this awkward playstyle where I have a rocket punch, I can't use it. Because it's not like Zarya where you just get to manually charge it. Now, I landed the shot there because I knew where she was going to land. I know she was going to land there. But whether it be enemies bouncing off terrain or, there's multiple enemies there, it leads to inconsistencies. Or, you're trying to punch away and you punch too far and you just, like, hiya, I get my ultimate, right? But if I, block. Oh no, because I had an Empower Punch, I fell off the map instead of doing a turn punch into my slam. You know, like,
I don't die that easily.
they did basically the opposite of what they did to Roadhog. Roadhog is less viable, but he has more agency. Oh no, I don't think that's true. I think he's less impactful. And they also did that with Doomfist. But that's just because their impact was lethality, which a tank having that much access when they don't have a shield or whatever, blah, blah, blah. The whole debate is stupid. I think it's fine as long as you balance it correctly, and I think that they didn't. I think they just needed to increase the hook cooldown or something, because 6v6 Roadhog with a right click is coming back. I think he's fine, in fact. I understand the annoyance with it, but the reality is you either remove him or he turns into a Maga-like character that's unkillable. I'd rather him be a skill-based character where you have to like actually land your right clicks and your hooks in order to get value, which is a lot better because his right clicks on his original gun are very good. Doomfist doesn't have any of that. He doesn't have the Zarya problem where if you manage your bubbles, you either get cleanses or you protect your teammates or whatever. Even if you use a bubble on a low health teammate, you are protecting your teammate. Even for just that moment. If I block on Doomfist, I'm not doing anything but slowing myself down. Now I could use the block in order to like combo with something, but even this still slows me down. It doesn't slow my movement, but it slows my character movement. So I can fling myself, but I'm still slower and easier to hit, which fundamentally upsets me because it doesn't make sense for Doomfist to ever put himself in a position where he wants to be shot, even as a tank, even though his entire fucking kit is designed to farm an Empower Punch by being shot at like Zarya for one cooldown that you might not even want to use. You might want to save it, which doesn't make any fucking sense on a cooldown based character to have a cooldown you don't want to use at all times because it's a special one. I don't know how this character went from somebody you have to actually make decisions on and has like weaknesses to being a generally much more balanced and viable character, but is even more annoying to play and play against. It's what they did to Orisa. It's what they did to Roadhog. You water down the weaknesses of enemies. You can't cancel their ultimates. You can't cancel them out of their abilities. You can't headshot Orisa. She got a brand new kit, and she's arguably even stronger than she was before because she has Spinning Spear and Fortify, which you basically are doing nothing, even without support. Like, even a high charge Zarya or Symmetra will have a hard time killing that shit, and they will most likely will kill you before you get any damage done because they can cycle their cooldowns because they have multiple cooldowns now. And they also have Javelin instead of Halt, and it's just a whole thing. Doomfist has gone to a weird edge case where I think he's much stronger as a tank, fundamentally. The block, if used correctly, which is debatable because you can also counter the block, but whatever, ignore that, sleep darts and all that bullshit. If you use the block correctly, if you use Tank Doomfist, he is infinitely stronger than DPS Doomfist. He's not as impactful, but he can, be an admin lobby controller. Is he a Genji? Is he a Widow? No, but he can still make plays, and most of his playmaking potential lies in the fact that he can disrupt people. He can punch people out of position, or he can dive and then make a play off that. I think most of the value and most of the ranking up I've done in Overwatch 2, mostly getting back to top 500 NGM, was just making the enemy make a mistake, or letting them make a mistake, and then punishing them for it. DPS Doomfist could obviously do this. Most people can do this. Almost any character can do this. You don't make a mistake until your enemy makes a mistake. Act upon it. That's a very simple concept. But Doomfist has the ability to displace, like Roadhog hook, but in an even more aggressive way, where he can slam, hit the entire enemy team, do 180, punch the tank that's behind him now, or in front of him now, should I say, and punch him into your team, and all of a sudden, the Roadhog's in the middle of your team, or whatever tank it is, and then you can punish them, and they're down their tank, which is supposed to be their super character, and that's still not the designated playstyle of Doomfist, because all the boops in the game have been watered down. I get why, but I don't think the boop buffs or nerfs matter on almost any character other than Reinhardt. I didn't realize it did that. I think that's it. Honestly. Like, Reinhardt's like literally the only character I can think of off the top of my head that wants proper positioning. Other than maybe old Doom. Like, Tank Doomfist doesn't care about getting booped too much. It is annoying, but it's one of those things where he has so much range and so much AoE on those abilities now, it does not matter. Maybe Hazard because of his combos, but at that point, just get good. Land your combos like Genji does. That's it. Every other character, if you get booped, it is because you are mispositioned, and that's it. I think that mindset being forgotten because it's frustrating to die is annoying, because if you don't let the players die, they won't learn how to play the game. Because if they're just sitting there doing the wrong thing for 10 minutes, playing goats, and nothing gets booped, I don't think that's good for the game. Characters like Maga, Orisa, and all that, being able to be booped is fine because they have abilities that can stop themselves from being punished. Maybe Ramatra doesn't like being booped. No, he doesn't care. He has a shield, but it's like, whatever. Also, another thing to watch too, shields are worthless. They are just, like, even Ramatra's 1000 HP shield, which is supposed to be a big deal in Overwatch 2, it just gets deleted, man. I don't want to be shooting barriers, but especially in a 5v5 format, I don't know why Reinhardt's shield's not 2000 or more. I don't know why Sigma's shield's like 800, whatever the fuck it is. 700, that's even worse. Like, I know why Orisa doesn't have a shield, because she could do what Sigma does, and them being able to stack up on each other was the problem. Especially those two, because, again, Reinhardt Sigma is double shield. We don't care about that comp. Why? Because Reinhardt has to do this. I can't do anything while doing this. I can move. I can move. That's it. If to do anything on this character, I have to put down the shield. Now, there's also the problem where the deaths keep taking away his quality of life, such as the turn angle and multiple fire strikes and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say it, even with multiple fire strikes, even with the turnable nonsense, other than HP, I think, and even with a 2000 HP barrier, I don't know why they're nerfing Ryan ever, because he fundamentally is such an easily counterable character. Like Bastion, Mei, any high burst character, Symmetra, hell, even Venture eats his lunch, which is ridiculous, because this is the one character I didn't want to bring up in this discussion. This character does not care if you're a tank or not. They'll boop you as far as they can, because it's a displacement. It's not even really a boop. It's not like Lucio. Like, I need a character that won't die. Juno, I suppose. So if I just over the 10 meter mark, right?
Keeping the heat on.
It's a little less, but most of the effectiveness, I think most of that was just because of the, what's her name's, also, if you do it right, you can get them to go even farther. I don't think it matters at the end of the all. I would much rather punish teammates or the enemy for bad positioning by letting them die than letting them think they're good at the video game and just nerfing boops. Now, I know Lucio would be a fucking menace. Just nerf his HP again. It'll be fine. I promise. I promise. I promise you. I promise you don't have to be scared at high skill characters. That's it. Lucio takes a lot of micromanagement, and if you play him right, you should be rewarded. That's why his bullets keep getting up and down buffs. That's why they're scared of all this and that and blah, blah, blah. If you land a Lucio's combo, that is by far one of the most skillful things in the game, and that's it. It is so hard to argue otherwise. I don't know why stuff like this isn't being changed. I don't know why stuff like Brigida and like Orisa are getting micro buffs because these characters are fundamental. I don't know how big our area is for Inspire. I think it's as big as the diameter from that in a circle, if I'm not mistaken. It's massive. It's like the entire point of Elios. Well, it's ridiculous how big this character can heal. Like, I'm pretty sure I can heal these guys from here. So let's go all the way over here. Damn it. Damn it all. Eat. Damn it. Well, this is anticlimactic, isn't it? Eat.
I love doing that.
It requires LOS, doesn't it? Does it not work in the practice range? But they nerfed the duration.
I'm on fire. Come on, try me.
It does require LOS. Oh, that's still ridiculous. Because it's massive, but yeah, it requires LOS to proc on them. Oh, okay. That's still stupid. It's still ridiculous. They should probably match, what's their name a bit more. I am disappointed in Tank Doomfist. I'm disappointed in a lot of things in 5v5 and Overwatch 2, and not just the absolutely fucking outrageous greedy monetization that is a damn shame and downright concerning from a legal perspective because it is just that exorbitantly expensive. I know this game is no longer... I know it's free to play now. I was going to say it's no longer free to play, but it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, you don't respect your players' time or money. There's nothing to do in the game currently. I can't earn a skin. I can't earn a loot box. I can't go play the arcade. And earning XP to fill out the battle pass when it's full of shit I may or may not even want, especially even if I don't buy it, is even more moronic. Especially since Mythic Prisms can be bought and all that now, which is just the stupidest thing. Anyway, the absolutely pathetic state of the monetization of Overwatch aside, collab skins aside, at that, because as much as I don't like certain things, you don't have to make skins like $20 a pop, but the collab skins are you're gonna have to shell out for those. That's fair. That's fine, because they want to make money and all, and it's an IP and blah blah blah. Fine, whatever. But everything else, I can't earn anything except for Jade weapons now. I can't earn any cosmetics. I don't get any tokens. I don't get any premium tokens. The only way to earn stuff is to watch Twitch shit, and well, how many have there been in like the 2 or 3 years Overwatch 2's been out? Less than 20-ish. Okay. How many skins have been in the Battle Pass? A lot. How many have been in the shop? Like quadruple that. It's just the monetization stuff, cosmetics, all of that. It's just so frustrating. But whatever. Back to the game. I do not like the current state of Doomfist. I think fundamentally he is obnoxious to play against, and he is obnoxious to play, especially compared to his DPS counterpart. I cannot believe in good faith that they took one of the most unique character designs that has ever existed in the video game and just butchered it. I am having fun with Overwatch Classic, not just because Doomfist is back, because I actually haven't just been playing Doomfist, but the game feels better. I'm mostly playing tank, and just having another tank there, sometimes, not all the time, almost never actually, outside of like a couple Ryan Zarya matchups, feels amazing. Bubbling a Doomfist, bubbling a Reinhardt, bubbling your teammates, and getting like recognition and all that, especially before I got muted, which I still find outrageous. I'm hoping that gets resolved. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really... I cannot believe me of all people got silenced, but that's neither here or there. I don't know what Overwatch needs, especially to compete with the monster of a juggernaut of Marvel rivals, because that game looks great, it plays great, and it takes a lot of mistakes Overwatch does and does well on them, and it does okay on the monetization front from what I've heard. It's still pricey, but it's a free-to-play game, and it has no FOMO or anything like that, which I find ridiculous. That's probably my biggest problem with Overwatch currently, is that it's using every bad tactic. Mind you, it's effective, but every exploitative mechanic from a monetization standpoint. FOMO, high prices, timed shops. I don't know if Marvel Rivals has that. All I know is that if you buy a Battle Pass, you have it. It's done. You just need to come back and keep earning it. You don't have to worry about it expiring or anything like that, because that should be illegal. That's fucking stupid. If you pay for content, it can just go away. Stupid. But their supports are strong. You have to play like a team, but if you're really good at the game mechanically, you can obviously just dumpster. Everything's overpowered, so nothing's overpowered. Overwatch keeps bouncing between everything's overpowered, everything's underpowered, this is busted, that's not busted, this is fair, this is not, and blah, 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 blah. You gotta keep everything at 50% win rate. Doesn't make any fucking sense. I absolutely hate the current state of Overwatch. I've always hated the idea of forced 50% win rates on buffs or nerfs. Who is asking if you're German or not? It's a meme that got asked a couple times. I think it started with Aristonic and then a couple other people. And yes, I have been yapping about balance in Overwatch, and I believe I've come to a healthy conclusion. I want... What do I want? I want supports to be good. But I want their healing to be good. I know healing's obnoxious, and I don't want passives to exist anymore. I don't care about the tank passives. I don't care about the DPS passives. I don't care about the supports getting faster regen. You shouldn't have that to begin with. Everyone should just have universal healing passive after like 5 seconds. You just heal. So that way, you know, you don't fucking hate your life if your Ana can't shoot you because they're respawning, you know? You just, you know, you cap up the full by the next fight. That's always fine. I like characters that if you play them correctly, you get good value. Whether it be Venture, whether it be DPS Doomfist, whether it be Reinhardt, whether it be Ball, it doesn't really matter. I want them to be impactful. I want them to be powerful. Things I don't like. Maga, Orisa. Roadhog when he's too easy to play. Roadhog should be hard to play, but if he makes his play, he should be able to cash in because you have to make the play happen. Things like Suzu, Lamp, all the immortalities should probably be replaced with sustain instead of immortalities or anything like that, and just be like, Suzu shouldn't stop any CC, but then it gives you a massive heal and a cleanse. That's it. Baptiste's immortality field might be an exception. Just make it have less HP and a bigger hitbox. I'm okay with Rez. I still think Mercy's entire kit should be reversed. I think her Valk and Rez should be backwards. I still think she should have like an amp heal or damage boost. Doesn't really matter. That gives her like an 8 second Valk on E, just like Lucio does. And then I wish her Guardian Angel was a fly to a teammate and it's a short cooldown. But if you use it by itself, it's on like a 6 to 8 second cooldown. And then you get to go wee for like longer. Like, I cannot believe that hasn't already been done. Moira's auto-aim is atrocious. I would just nerf the fuck out of her range. That's it. Or nerf the fuck out of her damage to make up for that. And then the character is no longer fundamentally stupid to play against. Kiri's really annoying. But I'm okay with headshots getting value. But projectiles, hitboxes should be much, much smaller. Yes, they should be smaller. I know they're probably nothing. That includes Sleep Dart. Especially after the Season 9 changes where everything was made bigger. Some things weren't touched, like Sleep Dart, I believe, but goddamn, like most things should be made even smaller if possible. It makes no goddamn sense how easy some of those abilities are land, especially on tanks, of all things. If you're gonna 5v5 format, doesn't matter. 6v6, doesn't matter. It's just fucking obnoxious to play. Stuff like Discord, anything that shuts down a character with no counterplay needs to be addressed if everything's not just going to be overpowered. Also, please make Doomfist a tank again, or a DPS again. Please stop him from being an obnoxious tank to play. Also, Hazard? Everyone thinks he's overpowered? Fuck him. They're right. However, he's a tank. He has to do, like, mediocre combos in order to get value and or, like, take space with a wall that does spiky damage and boops. Outside of it randomly insta-killing your enemy or your teammates, which is a bug that occasionally happens, which is hilarious, by the way. Whatever. This character, Juno, Venture, they are fantastic for the game. I love Venture. Venture's basically just a different version of DPS Doomfist with one less ability and much more balance with splash damage. With splash damage. Also, they're just a funny little guy. Please give them more skins, you dipshits. If it's an artistic thing, I get it. If it's something else, get your head out of your asses. You're being greedy sacks of shit, yet you won't sell anything other than a top skin. But that's all. I've been summoned. I knew this was going to happen. I've been summoned 5 minutes ago, according to my phone, even though I was looking at it this entire time. But yeah. I think the main thing with Venture, before I go, is that they haven't decided whether they want to make them more sexy and feminine, like Sombra, like a cat Nipita, or if they want to make them like one of the boys and like tough and rough. I think they could literally do both and be fine. I don't know why they don't do that more often. Like you can make like a pinkish, like badass. You can make like a toxic Reaper or like a, you know, like a pinkish Reaper girly, whatever. I don't know why they don't do it more often. So long as it keeps the silhouette, it's fine. That's all. Classic Overwatch is really good. I'm still having fun with Overwatch. I'm having a lot of fun because DPS Doomfist is back. But even before then, I was still having... I didn't do that thing where most people would do, especially in a game like this, where you would play it to completion. I would get distracted and play something else, like Balatro, the Bazaar. Doesn't matter, right? I would just go play something else for a little bit, and I never let Overwatch burn me out again. However, not being burnt out on Overwatch like creators are or anything, because they get high ranks or just to make content on the game, they have to do that. They have to put in the time and effort in order to get the games, to get all that going, and it's ridiculous. I never let that happen to me since I came back to Overwatch in Overwatch 1. Mind you, I had a bottomless pit because I hadn't played in so long and I missed a lot of things and I had time to kill and all that, and I would just camp out at like high masters, low GM, and I had a blast because I wasn't trying to farm like the top ranks where people would just be obnoxiously annoying to play against. If you play enough, you'll automatically just go up those ranks. Yeah, my phone just went off again. That's annoying because it said 7 minutes ago and it's supposed to go off in 2 minutes. Doesn't matter. Yeah, that's about it. Those are my thoughts on the Overwatch memes and dreams. Make Doomfist a DPS again. I think DPS Doomfist would be less obnoxious to play against than Tank Doomfist in Overwatch 2. I'd love to see it put in a workshop or something and like actually test it, but I'm pretty confident, especially if they remove the one shot. Like if they remove the 150 damage on the wallbang, just make it like 50 damage and then like put a little bit upfront damage. I don't care about that. Remove the one shot. I don't care. Give me back my 125 slam. Give me a little bit area effect on the slam. Give me some fluidity. Give me, if you're going to keep the empowered punch, give me the ability to charge up myself if I just hold R during the rocket punch. Something. Playing this character is obnoxious. Playing against it's obnoxious. It always has been, but the current iteration of Tank Doomfist was a fucking disappointment and a failure of his identity and his design. There's a couple other cases to be made, like Maga's also a failure. Orisa, I really don't like. I miss her pull. I would genuinely sacrifice the spinny spear for the halt, and then you do halt spear, and then you have like a weird one-shot combo or something. But like, that's problematic. But it would make sense. And then unnerf boops, remove passives, keep the universal heal passive, and just let supports and healing be overpowered, and let things be good. Give me Junkrats, give me Ventures, give Venture back their one-shot combo, you dipshits. Let Soldier have 22 damage per bullet, let Soldier and avoid the one-shots if you can, because this is a game with one, with like, HP bars. I would actually do what we did in Season 9 again, and then don't buff anyone's damage. And see what happens. So that way, and then I would buff all healing to make up for that. So that way, Yeah, and also let ultimates happen more. Because it's annoying that they take so long. But yeah. I used to ship Soldier in 76 and Reaper at the very beginning of Overwatch. Well, Overwatch has confirmed Soldier 76 as a homosexual. That is not a joke. Reaper has had a wife. And that's a whole fucking meme. That's why Overwatch fell, because they had a love triangle. And on that note, I'm gonna call the video here. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching.